Hello, and here we have another really special guest. It's really exciting to be able to talk a little bit more about the research in different kinds of areas as well. So I'd love you to meet Vivienne Travlos. She is a lecturer in the School of Pediatric Physiotherapy at Notre Dame.
In the School of
Physiotherapy. Sorry, got that quite a little bit wrong there. And she's currently just about to complete her PhD, which is really exciting. So I thought it'd be great to hear about what she's looking at and where to from here. So tell us a little bit about your research.
Okay, so I'm very interested in how teenagers function. Mm-hmm. I might learn something from my own teenagers as well. So I'm looking at painting a baseline picture, a population-based study of young 13 to 22-year-old young people with neuromuscular conditions who are wheelchair users, and describing their health and well-being in an ICF framework.
Right.
Mixed methods, so I'm trying to get a baseline of where they're at with their health and specifically mental well-being. Mm-hmm. And then I've done a qualitative study asking them about their healthcare engagement.
Wow.
So neuromuscular conditions, you're familiar with, like Duchenne?
Yeah, maybe tell a little bit about what includes that in terms of neuromuscular. Yeah.
So my crowd are young people growing up with rare diseases. It's rarer than cerebral palsy. That is a genetic element that causes severe muscle weakness.
Yeah.
So they're wheelchair dependent, and all the muscles are affected by muscle weakness, and especially the respiratory muscles, which is what has limited life expectancy. So they weren't expected to survive their teens. So talking about the Duchenne, kids with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, spinal muscular atrophy, and then the rarer muscular dystrophies in that. And we really know in the last 15 years that good timing of things like non-invasive ventilation, good respiratory care in their teenage years can double life expectancy. So our oldest guys are into their 40s now.
That's so significant.
So if we get things right in those teenage years, these kids are bright. There's nothing wrong with their intellect. So a couple of my kids have been ducks at the college, finished uni.
Wow.
It's a bit of a different story what happens after, because they're highly educated, but then they can't get jobs because they're another story, which I've got. But so I was trying to just map out where they're at now so that longitudinally we can have a baseline to see if we do things better in transition, whether we can improve their comorbidities and their
so it's all about
into adulthood.
Getting a better understanding of where they're at now, projecting further ahead so we can improve care in this population. That's amazing. That's really amazing.
So I was looking at healthcare engagement qualitatively, because that whole thing of timely care. So if we give them ventilators and things like, I don't know if you've heard of the cough assist. It's supposed to be mechanical inexsufflators, and we throw this awesome technology at them, and then depending on where they're at that moment in time, it either goes and sits in the cupboard and gets dust and they get sick and end up in hospital, which is where we don't want them, or if we get it right, then they use it every day and they're sailing through into adulthood in good health.
That's
so
amazing.
There's something about us as healthcare professionals getting things right in the two-way engagement.
And I love how that's in every single area there's people who are researching things that are truly important, and I love that, it might be beyond sort of the world that I look at all the time, but it's so great to know there's people like you looking at things that are so important. So I just absolutely love that. So conference, what will be the thing that has been your highlight after today? It's day one.
I suppose it's the kind of the finding shared interests is always a kind of come away from conference and you're buoyed by things. So my world is a slightly different diagnostic group than but it all applies to this is predominantly cerebral palsy as well. So what some of the parents have said about engagement from a parent perspective with the healthcare professional, it all resonates with what the teenagers have told me, what they appreciate from healthcare professionals. So that really is a parallel that I just want to share the teenager's voice a bit more.
That's so good.
I've published that, so that is out there. And from the other thing about conferences is always just keeping up to date. So in my teaching, I've got lots of asterisks all through my notebook of must change the slide of the lecture, must update this part of the lecture, must find this resource for my students. So I'm coming away with I've got a long list of things to do to update what I'm teaching at undergrad level.
That's so good. And again, it just means that we never stop learning. And I think that's the important part for everyone who does need to engage with healthcare professionals, is that it is our responsibility to continually learn, but we actually want to work with you so much more than you realise. So thank you so much for that. It's been so great to hear about your research.
Keep going.
See you around. Okay, bye.
Thanks, Dayna.
Thank you.